Hello, Cherie Hanson here. I have rather doggedly and unrelentingly observed the release of the Epstein files in the last 3 days, and I've been posting only from sources that I knew were legitimate, that I've been following for years, and so I knew I could trust the information that was coming through them. And I understood why I was doing it. I was doing it because I experienced what it is to be abandoned in the American culture. Let me explain that a little bit. The American culture talks about individualism and going it alone. And one of the things that's so interesting to me is that serial killers are more likely in the past to have a poster of John Wayne on their wall above any other hero. What does this mean? This means that there is no community. There's community consumption. There is attending an event or watching a TV show. And I remember when I first went up north and I was living in a row house, a townhouse, I would walk home at night through the snow and the cold and walk past the big sliding windows that led to the back porch and the steps that led down to the backyard. And every single TV was on the same station. And that became, for me, a really clear look at what had happened to the village. Everyone is watching The Price is Right alone in their box. And I've read before, I thought this was really interesting, that the disintegration of compassion, of connection, first came at the time when the fireplace was put into the separate rooms. Isn't that interesting? Before that, everybody sat together around the giant fireplace in the kitchen, doing their mending or working on, leather harnesses for the horse, or whittling, or playing a flute, or talking to one another. So there was this interaction, there was this connection that went between them. I'm not saying it was idyllic. You still had households where there was drunkenness and where there were horrible people raising children. And it wasn't that it was paradise. It was that there was a sense of having others with you, physically, passing time with you. And so what happens when you're raised in a culture that praises individuality and yet stamps out individuality? In the classrooms, I found that most teachers would find the gifted, the alternative, those who think with a wider mind, who have greater substance, to be threatening and didn't like us in there. And so we were put in the back and we were suppressed. You're supposed to go out on the school sports day and everybody runs. Well, you know what I did? I'm running and running, and I look around behind me, and everybody's way far behind. And so I thought, I've already won. They're so far behind me, they'll never catch up with me. And so I sat down. In a culture that has you in a stranglehold of contradictory beliefs, this is not the way to behave. You're supposed to be an individual. You are not supposed to ask for help. You are never supposed to be below normal or above normal. And we were all exceptional. Everybody was exceptional. There were no exceptions. That also blocked off something that could have really helped the culture. And that is looking to the outer world, looking to other countries like Finland or Portugal that have solved their drug use and homeless problem and that kind of thing. Looking at countries who provide free education, a different form of health care, and we refused it because that was not our way. Our way was to isolate and stubbornly refuse to learn from others. And so we walked down this road where there's no community, there's no connection, there's very little communication. I mean, Minnesota is blowing my mind right now. They have refused that paradigm. They understand that all we have is us, and together we will organize and we will be effective. But that's not what I experienced growing up. I experienced situations where if there were a village, if we were taught how to have friends, if we had a caretaker individual, a pastor, a teacher, some kind of, for me, it was a librarian in my school. These people appear when you have an interconnected culture. These are the people that lay back, keep track, and come in when they're needed. If we don't have that, then what happens is people can disappear. Children can disappear because the story when I was growing up in the 50s was children were the property of the father. Now, if you have a father that is a monster and sells you, who's going to check on that? So we're beginning to see the results of the very philosophy of these countries. Canada, the Highway of Tears, so many Native women have been disappeared. So many have been taken away and disposed of. And the question is equality of compassion. When is it that we decide that someone else does not deserve food, a warm house, God, in Canada, clean water? They don't deserve to be taken care of or to be guarded, because we've lost the concept of interconnectedness. Even in various churches I've been in over the last few years, it's competitive. You know, people arguing over who's going to take charge of this or who's going to take charge of that. We've gotten lost, people. We're lost. It's not about my ego. It's not about who's the chosen one and who is a lesser one. And we've let that leak into our very brain cells as we look at one another. Who deserves care? Who deserves to be taken care of, supported? Who deserves lunch? We're very clear about that. There are those that deserve it and there are those that don't. And we also have that division between the North and the South. If you live up north, you know that you wouldn't get Wi-Fi until 10 years after the South got it. Why isn't there more transportation between the North and the South? Why isn't there an equal spread of job opportunities between the North and the South? There's so much that is absolutely leading to the abuse and disappearance of individuals in the cultures. And we can't see it. So what's happening now with the Epstein files is we hear, in the foster care system in the States, 250,000 children have disappeared. How can children disappear? I'm asking you. There's a system that is at work that allows for that disappearance. There is a system that is at work that allowed for me to be bruised, to have bones broken, to be left alone, afraid to cry. And it's not random. It's the fruit. It's the blossoming of the cultural tree. And I have to say, it's about damn time. As hard as it is to look at the Epstein files and start to hear about the disappearance of Native women in Canada, or to hear about the cases of starvation in Canada, or the lack of clean water in Canada, as we awaken, we start to see. It's like somebody put in eye drops or took out our cataracts. That's going to come one day. Yes. And what it means is that the old system is stinking rotten. It doesn't work. It has never worked. We have been caught up in this system of competition, of valuing people as if they were in a herd of cattle. This one's better than that one. This one gave more milk. And it's because we have come to believe that we only have ourselves to rely on. When we believe that, we are very fragile. The only way out of this is what Minnesota is showing us, is what the monks who are walking for day after day with no shoes on in snow are showing us together. There is energy. There is the will to stop embracing the beliefs that are actually destroying people. And when it's children, this is the future of the culture. The culture is destroying its own future. And why is it? Because it is not compassionate. So I have hope that as hard as this is to look at, as hard as it is to realize this, the fact that the information is coming out for me means so much, because it's like, finally, we're seeing the corruption and the monstrosity of the rich devouring the poor, which is exactly which is happening. Anyway, I just wanted to say to you, please subscribe. Please thumbs up, make a comment, give your reaction. I look forward to those comments so much. If you want a card reading, a psychic reading, or a life coach, get a hold of me, because we have started a new life on. Today is the 2nd. We have begun to live a more blessed life, a more mindful energy, a kinder way of forming a culture, a country, a village. And I want to say thank you so much for stopping and looking at my video. I appreciate you.